These are the latest Audeze MM-500 studio headphones created in collaboration with 10-time Grammy Award-winning sound engineer Manny Marroquin. His name is emblazoned on one of the ear cups. Manny is known for having worked with most of the stars of the American and world pop and R&B scene, and Audeze at some point invited him to create his perfect headphones. What are the ideal headphones for a sound engineer? This is a tool in which he will mix music, including finding and eliminating the slightest flaws. These are the headphones, to be honest, that will dump dirt and all the sound imperfections on you. Then why buy this for home use if I'm not a sound engineer and all I need is to enjoy listening to music? My name is Eugen, let's jump into it. The Audeze MM-500 is the second model after the flagship LCD-5 to feature a new, cleaner, smoother design code and a new driver size. Personally, I like Audeze's new look a lot more, and the 500s are my absolute favorite in terms of appearance. These are the brand's coolest looking headphones, in my opinion. Like the 5s, the 500s are equipped with the same new elements. However, unlike the flagship headphones, the materials here are simpler. The headband isn't made of carbon but just of metal. The leather insert is without perforation like the LCD-5s have, but on the inside there is the Manny logo applied with reflective paint. Overall, the new headband not only looks way cooler than the LCD-2, 3X and all the others have, because the shape is slicker here and the screws are almost invisible, but it also distributes weight differently. If you look more closely and compare, you can see that these pins, which adjust the height, enter the headband at a different angle and the headband itself opens more widely. As for fitting, everything is individual here, everyone's head is different. But I have to say that the 500s are noticeably tighter against the head than the old LCDs. However, they still remain comfortable and can stay on my head for several hours. But in comparison, the LCD-X put less pressure on the head. Therefore, I cannot say whether the new MM-500 is more comfortable than the LCD-X. Rather, they just feel a little different on the head. And by the way, about the ear pads. Traditionally at Audeze they are of amazing quality. These are large, very soft, very comfortable rings made of genuine leather. However, compared to the flagship headphones, the geometry here is simpler. These are classic ear pads without an intricate geometry, while the 5s have an inner surface like a stadium, which creates something like a horn shape. The MM-500's ear cups look even cooler than the 5s. They are made of milled aluminum and visually and tactilely this is a solid audiophile orgasm. Here you can no longer see the screws as in the previous generation, where they stick out literally from all sides. Plus, the workmanship has reached a completely different level. In all LCDs, external grills and brackets to which the ear cups are attached are made of simple stamped and bent metal parts. But here the grills and brackets are all milled parts of complex geometry. Therefore, the feeling when you take them in your hands is on a completely different level. Older LCDs seem homemade by comparison, almost. Yes, of course, compared to the LCD-5, which uses lighter materials, carbon and acetate, the 500s are heavier, weighing 495 grams, which is 75 grams heavier than the 5s. However, they are still lighter than the LCD-2 by as much as 100 grams, and even lighter than the LCD-X, which weighs as much as 612 grams. This huge difference in weight is largely due to the smaller diameter of the cups and hence the smaller drivers. Older LCD2 had 106mm drivers, but here only 90mm. Thus, the new headphones no longer look so monstrous and don't frighten people with their appearance. On the contrary, the 500s are downright sexy. All in all, the MM-500 has the same design and ergonomics as their most expensive flagship LCD-5 headphones, and they look almost cooler than the LCD-5. At the same time, they are much more durable due to the used materials. These are pretty robust headphones dressed in aluminum armor, which aren't afraid of intensive use. Inside, of course, everything is according to the canons of Audeze. The planar-magnetic driver is an ultra-thin synthetic membrane with a conductive track applied to it. This thinnest film with a diameter of 90mm, actually a little less, 90mm is the overall diameter of the driver, is sandwiched here between two arrays of super strong M50 neodymium magnets. It vibrates in their magnetic field and produces sound, lots of sound. This design allows this driver to produce an ultra-detailed, well-controlled sound with minimal distortion. Thanks to these features, Audeze headphones are chosen by sound professionals and demanding people. It is worth saying that planar magnetic headphones, and Audeze in particular, can sound completely different. A clear example is the LCD-2, which with a similar design sounds quite different from the LCD-X and MM-500. What else do you need to know about these headphones? They are traditionally equipped with mini XLRs for cable connection, and they come with this classic braided cable made of OCC monocrystalline copper with low impedance and high current carrying capacity, as they say. In fact, you should know that this is a flexible, comfortable, non-microphonic cable with very high quality connectors that are 6.2 feet, 1.9 meters long. And if you're not a hardcore studio maniac, then this cable is more than enough for you. But of course, if you are the one who is aggressively attacked by music lovers on Reddit, then yes, you are free to use any other cables, and these headphones will respond with great pleasure to their change, so there is something to play with. Personally, I use them with my favorite and overpriced Audeze cryogenic silver-plated copper cable with a specific crystal grid orientation. It costs as much as Apple's AirPods Max headphones, so I, as music lover, of course strongly condemn the purchase of such cables. This is one big swindle, you audiophiles are being scammed for money, what else I can say? Therefore, let's return to irrefutable, the numbers. One of the obvious advantages of the MM-500 is their specs. These headphones have a frequency range from 5 to 50,000 Hz, 0.1% THD, a sensitivity of 100 dB, and an impedance of only 18 ohms. And if your amplifier can give them at least a quarter of a watt, then consider that it's recommended for these headphones. Although you and I know that this is wishful thinking, right? However, in general, when I plug them directly into my MacBook Pro 16 laptop with their new powerful amplifier, I don't raise the volume above the half. The MM-500 is really easy to drive with a microchip built into the laptop, or whatever it has inside. In such a simple setup, you can easily hear a lot, and in this regard I can only admire. I even plugged them into a cassette player, and the headphones gave out quite a loud sound. Here I can boast that very few people on the planet have listened to a cassette player with the latest high-end magnetic planars. Yes, the achievement is probably doubtful, but at the same time, many people generally try to close the virtual rings in their watches, just sitting and waving. A cassette player isn't that useless after all, so don't judge me. But frankly, they certainly need a good amplifier to make you feel what they are really capable of. After all, the sound from the output of a laptop will give you, well, subjectively 30–40% of their quality. Although I believe that it's so wrong to talk about quality as a percentage value. But to put it simply, you just won't hear much without a quality setup. I'm listening to them with the new Ferrum Erzo amp/DAC that I recently talked about here. Be sure to check it out if you haven't seen it. This is a rather unexpected device, and the story about it will help many to navigate in this insensitive world of DAC amplifiers. Well, now that you know the whole truth, let's talk about why I decided to buy them for myself, despite the fact that I'm not a fan of professional headphones. I've been a long-time owner of the LCD-2 headphones, and I just love their dark signature. My love for planar-magnetic sound is generally associated with these headphones, and thanks to them I realized what kind of sound I prefer. But to be honest, I only took the MM-500 because of their visual appeal. Simply put, when I saw them for the first time, like any competent audiophile, I said to myself, they are so beautiful that they cannot sound bad, so I just need them. I think everyone recognizes themselves now, right? For most of my friends, half if not all of the setup is collected according to this principle. My situation was aggravated and became even more unambiguous due to the fact that my LCD-2 remained in Moscow, from where I had to move far away. So, in acquiring the MM-500, everything was cloudless except for one of my main fears, their studio purpose. After all, this means sound that will generously provide me with information about the phonogram, which I absolutely don't want to hear, which will prevent me from enjoying music. Like, goodbye my beloved Spotify. But what did I hear? I think many of you appreciate the precise monitor-like sound of headphones like the LCD-X, which is not only a popular tool for sound engineers, but also a true favorite of many audiophiles. A lot of people come to the audiophile hobby precisely for this reason, because they want to listen to everything with maximum clarity like a sound engineer in a studio. But I'm not. In my old LCD-X review, I said that they sound very punchy and sparkling at the top end. They give you the finest details efficiently because they are the perfect tool for that. But you need to be prepared to hear dirt and imperfections in your beloved music. The MM-500 is as close as possible to the X's by nature. They have the same flat, punchy bass, a clean but slightly more open and intimate mid-range due to a greater rise in the upper mid-range frequencies, and here lies the most important difference for me: more calm, smoother treble than the X's have. With this tune-up, the MM-500s are still cool studio headphones that deliver a lot of information at you. You still hear almost everything at a glance. However, they don't have such an emphasis on the very top of the range that the Axis has. For this reason, I personally feel the MM-500 sound more comfortable because they are more concentrated in the middle of the range, which I really prefer. Axis, in my opinion, in addition to the open clean mids, is unnecessarily for me accentuated at the very edge of the treble. The MM-500 saved me from this, and such a signature, and I didn't even imagine it myself, turned out to be very preferable for me. I can't say what this means for the sound engineer, but this sound seems more balanced to me for home listening. For example, the groovy modern track Floats by Tony Iggy on the LCD-X would certainly impress me the first time, but I wouldn't listen to it again. In contrast, the MM-500 is completely different. Such groovy, rocking music only turns me on. Their accurate, detailed, transparent sound gives a clear picture, and everything is studio-like here. At the same time, the headphones are so comfortable and beautifully present this rather monotonous track that I first of all get high from the picture as a whole than from the devil in the details, on which the MM-500 is beyond praise. They still get them like a surgical scalpel. But what is important, they don't insist on them, they do not shift my focus to where I don't want. Besides, the MM-500 certainly outperforms the LCD-X in terms of overall level of refinement. They are still more delicate in subtleties and nuances, in the level of elaboration of subtle details, with the same level of honesty that of the X. The MM-500 turns out to be more accurate, which many would call a more musical presentation. If you'd rather listen to something a little more subtle than electronic pop beats, like jazz, then the MM-500 are a total delight. I recommend you listen to the great American jazz quartet The Bad Plus. Just last September, they released their new album. Fast and open, detailed and airy, the mid-focused character of the MM-500 allows you to reveal the sound of live instruments in such a way that sometimes my jaw just falls off. It turns out that studio headphones can sound warm and comfortable. New York Jazz sound very cozy and spacious in their presentation, although I must say that the MM-500 aren't the most wide-sounding headphones. Yes, they are open back and they still have a fairly wide, free stage, but they try to keep the sound mostly in front of you in a small radius. But this sound is quite large scale with impressive imaging. And that's what adds to my listening pleasure. On the track named You Won't See Me Before I Come Back, the guitar is definitely at a distance a little to your left. The saxophone is in the center in front of you, but the drum kit sounds so close, clear and understandable that you seem to have crawled inside. This is of course not how you actually perceive a live performance spatially, but it has a completely different effect of presence and proximity, for which I love headphones. No speakers will let you listen to music like that. Another important aspect of the sound is that the headphones are very fast. For example, the last noisy single by Muse, Kill or Be Killed, with fast beats and heavy sharp guitars, technically just sounds perfect. Here, of course, the planar driver is out of competition. There is not the slightest hint of a resolution decrease, a drop in dynamics, or an unjustified degradation of the sound. At a low volume level, all the details remain in place, and at a high volume, the headphones don't start screaming. Everything is super clear, monitor-like, without coloring, without embellishment. Their main virtue in general is an accurate and precise sounding, without any alteration. Whatever you listen to, from Set the National to Nervous Muse or something more striking, the headphones will provide an impeccable performance. With them you don't depend on the signature, genre or anything else. They are absolutely all-purpose. What are their shortcomings? Their rather high price can still be considered a disadvantage, because whatever one may say, most people on this planet will make a cuckoo sign when they find out how much you paid for them. But in our strange and wonderful audiophile world, it's hard for these headphones to find an insurmountable musical challenge or use case. Well, perhaps for many, the lack of that very taste and special signature, for which I really love the LCD-2 and LCD-3, can become a drawback. Nothing else. I would argue that while they are kind of studio grade and bear the name of a famous sound engineer, the MM-500 are intended for a wider range of people far beyond the narrow circle of professionals. These headphones aren't as hardcore as some of the studio models that make the untrained listener's ears fall off, so they give you the opportunity to enjoy the sound. Yes, they are still demanding on the sound quality, and the dream of listening to your favorite underground bootlegs without pain will remain unreal. Miracles don't happen. But as far as the bare minimum of normal modern sound, such as Spotify's quality, it is absolutely possible to listen without pain. Although, of course, Tidal, Qobuz or local files will be more preferable. The headphones will very clearly let you know the difference. But once again, your ears won't bleed if you turn on Spotify. At the same time, from a practical perspective, this is generally one of the best options for today. The headphones will pair greatly with many amplifiers. I even think that they'll have synergy with most high-quality equipment. They are really very solid, and all their parts and units are absolutely firm. Here we must pay tribute to the engineers. They really did an excellent improvement. From the perspective of your investments, this is a rather significant plus in my opinion. And most important for an audiophile, they are slim and beautiful like no other Audeze.